In what has become a viral symbol of both implicit bias and professional excellence, a courtroom confrontation took an unexpected turn last Friday when a judge demanded credentials from a poised, well-spoken black expert witness, only to be presented with not one, but two advanced degrees in law and forensic science. The courtroom fell into silence. Dr. Marcus Ellison, 38, was called to testify as an expert forensic analyst in a complex homicide trial at the Baltimore City Circuit Court. A respected figure in both legal and scientific circles, Ellison holds a JD from Columbia University and a PhD in forensic science from Johns Hopkins. He's worked with the FBI, consulted on over 200 cases nationwide, and lectures on forensic integrity at major law schools. But when he stepped onto the witness stand in a sharp navy suit and began presenting his detailed analysis, the tone in the room shifted. Judge Harold Lancaster, 62, interrupted his testimony less than 5 minutes in. "Before we proceed," Lancaster said, peering over his glasses, "I'd like to confirm this witness's credentials. Has the court received verifiable documentation of his expertise?" The prosecution froze. "Yes, Your Honor," the assistant district attorney replied. "Dr. Ellison's full CV was submitted with the witness list and approved during pretrial." Lancaster frowned. "I'm aware, but I'd like him to state them again, for the record." Unshaken, Dr. Ellison nodded and leaned into the mic. "My name is Dr. Marcus Ellison," he said evenly. "I hold a Juris Doctor from Columbia University and a PhD in forensic science from Johns Hopkins University. I've served as a forensic consultant for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, taught legal forensics at Stanford and Yale, and published 14 peer-reviewed studies on DNA trace evidence analysis." A soft gasp rose from the gallery. One juror visibly raised her eyebrows. The defense attorney, previously skeptical, scribbled something on his notepad. Dr. Ellison then calmly retrieved a black leather folder from his briefcase, produced copies of both degrees, and placed them on the clerk's desk. The courtroom fell into a tense quiet until Judge Lancaster cleared his throat. "Very well. The court recognizes Dr. Ellison as an expert witness." But the moment had already become larger than the trial itself. Local journalist Tina Morales, seated in the press box, captured the exchange on paper and posted a thread on social media detailing the event. Within hours, her post was trending under hashtags like "Yashir's double-degreed" and "Akshas he came prepared." "This wasn't just about credentials," Morales wrote. "It was about perception, about who gets questioned, who's assumed legitimate, and who's forced to prove their right to speak." The incident has sparked renewed conversation across legal and academic communities about how systemic bias affects professionals of color in authoritative roles. Experts and civil rights leaders have noted that Black professionals are disproportionately asked to prove themselves, even in spaces where their accomplishments should speak for themselves. To some, excellence from a Black man in a position of authority feels like an exception, said Dr. Tiana Blake, a professor of legal sociology. That's why moments like these resonate. They reveal the gap between credentials and perception. When asked about the event outside the courthouse, Dr. Ellison was calm but direct. "I'm used to having to prove I belong in rooms I've already earned my place in," he said. "The degrees aren't just paper, they're armor." He later added, "I don't mind stating my credentials again, but I hope one day excellence isn't treated like a surprise." As for the case, Dr. Ellison's expert testimony later helped dismantle a faulty DNA claim by the defense and clarify a key timeline that strengthened the prosecution's narrative. The jury began deliberations Tuesday. Judge Lancaster, facing scrutiny for the interruption, issued a brief statement saying, "The court simply sought clarity. No disrespect was intended." But for many, the image of Dr. Ellison calmly laying out his academic and professional legacy stood as its own powerful rebuttal, not just to one moment in one courtroom, but to a broader, often unspoken expectation that Black excellence must always be proven twice.